Wow, welcome to another Refreshing Thoughts. I am your host, Chris Fresh, and thank you for joining me. Please click like and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. And if you have the means for $5 Australian a month, I have a Patreon, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I am here to talk about toys. And that seems to be a frequent topic on here. I will get to geeky stuff eventually. There's a Batman 89 episode I want to do with Julian James that's in the work. But I recently went to Adelaide, and the reason I went to Adelaide was the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair and the Radical Rewind Cinema Club, both run by Brett and Sarah Owen and Davey Damaged and the McLennan family. And yeah, I went across with my wife Jessie. We did the drive from Melbourne to Adelaide. It's about 8.5 hours or so. So it's not crazy, but it's a little boring. But you'd ask, Adelaide's a smaller city than Melbourne. Why would you go there when you're in Melbourne? And the answer is really simple. It's the people and the community. I've been to a couple of different toy fairs over in Adelaide. I've been to the Mega Toy Fair and the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair. And look, my preference of the two was the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair. The Mega Toy Fair sort of seemed a bit older and had a lot more collectible cars and stuff like that. I'm more in for your action figures and your pop culture and nostalgia. Here in Melbourne, we have, let's see if I can flash it up. We have the Vintage Modern Toy Fair. There's one coming up this weekend, Sunday, October 19th. I would have loved to have gone, but it clashes with my niece's first birthday. And considering I've just been across to Adelaide and spent a lot of money on dollies, yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to miss their final one for the show. But if you're in Melbourne, they're pretty much the only toy fair in town, apart from the one in Geelong, that are worth going to. But I'm going to talk about my trip to Adelaide. I am good friends, as you constantly hear me talk about on Geek Dudes and Refreshing Thoughts, with the boys from the Toy Power podcast. Hollywood Trent Cuccarelli, Big Saxy Ben Sachs, Scotty 2 Hottie, and ex Parko or Parko, Frank Allen. They're who I consider good personal friends of mine. They came across for my wedding. Many of the guys, Davey Damage from Dave's Video Graveyard, possibly from Massive Attack. He's sort of adjacent to them. We both appeared on Toy Power while I was over in Adelaide. But we've developed quite a bond and a friendship. And with that came Brett and Sarah Owen. And now a flow-on effect from that is many more people. Like I know Sean Fuster through wrestling. Got to have lunch with him and his beautiful wife, Jussie, while I was over there. But yeah, I went across because the last time I was at their fair, the vibe was incredible. And the community was really welcoming. And the selection was different than Melbourne. You know, when you go to toy fairs, you tend to get a lot of the same stuff because you're seeing a lot of the same vendors not turning over the stock because they're either not reducing it, so it's always a little bit fresh, no pun intended. And the other differences are space. Where the hall where they run, the aisles are wide. It's very well lit. You can really see everything, really. It's such a well laid out, well thought out fair that you actually get families in there without everybody feeling claustrophobic and feeling trapped. My wife doesn't like crowds, and we've been to toy fairs and she's gone, this is too much for me, I'm going to go wait outside. There was none of that at the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair, which is a credit to Brett and Sarah and all the helpers that help out with that. But primarily what I go across for is the people. And here you can see Davey Damage, Trent, who you might recognize from Lego Masters Australia. He was just a finalist on the Grandmasters. There's me, Saxy, Ben Sachs holding a Batmobile, a giant Batmobile. I'll tell that story shortly. Frank and Scotty there, and they are such an amazing crew of collectors. Now, you're probably wanting to have a bit of a look around that toy room. That is the toy room of Ben Sachs, and his collection is incredible. I All of them have amazing collections, very different collections too, and beautifully laid out. And what I love is when you go over there, they're also proud to show you their collections. It's their pride and joy. Like my collection is my pride and joy, and I'm sure your collection is your pride and joy. And I just realized Saxy's got cameras up there. I hope I didn't swipe anything. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, uh, it's such a fun, welcoming environment, encouraging. There's no snarkiness. There's no wanting to sort of steal on each other's purchases. There's none of that. Now, there are some rivalries amongst some of the toy groups. I've jokingly stirred them up and said it's like the rival news gangs in Anchorman, but really everybody gets along. They all get along really well. Now, you'll see Saxy holding a Batmobile there. Ben is really particular with his collection. As you can see, it's really full, and he is very space poor. So he is ruthless when it comes to what he's going to collect, what he's going to cull. And if you've checked out my YouTube channel or my socials at Refreshing Thoughts, I got the updated McFarlane Batmobile because I wanted to get an 89 Batman, and it is a better looking one. And I thought it would be funny for shits and giggles to smuggle that all the way over to Adelaide to give to Ben. Now, I was worried that Saxy was going to hear that I'm giving him this and say, piss off, mate. No, no room for that. Get out of here. So what I did was I left it in my car until we were recording Toy Power, and I could present it to him live on air. And what I thought was cool was, as much as I knew it would annoy him, I actually knew he'd appreciate it. He loves the 89 Batmobile like I do. Funny enough, he gave me a large block mounted print. I'm not sure if it came from the late great Darren's collection, which I'll also talk about on this episode. But I always appreciated that. We've got a mutual love of the 89 Batmobile. Trent is always trying to encourage me to get the Hot Toys version, which is on sale at the moment. I just don't have the money or space. As much as I would love it. But yeah, so being able to sneak that over to Ben was really funny. But the reason, that sort of gets me there is the community and the toys. And when I talk about the community, I want to show Brett and Sarah. There's Davey and his family. These guys in particular made the weekend so special for my wife Jessie and I. And I have to tell you a story. You'll see that's Davey Damage next to me with the big beard. My wife to the other side of me. Davey's wife to the other side of him and his children, and Brett and Sarah to the other side of my wife. The middle child who Davey's got his arm around is Ollie, and I want you to keep Ollie Danger in your mind. Just give me a moment. I'm always doing this. I'm not prepared. But trust me, it's going to be worth it. So let me show you this. I think we've all seen one of these before. How cool is this? They had a robot transforming watch at the fair. Various shapes mysteriously formed as wishes. High performance robot made in Taiwan. Micro change series. Now, I can't imagine. I don't know if there were official versions of this, but I think a lot of us as kids had a transforming watch, let alone one in packet. So I saw it, and I'm going to hold this up. So I saw it, and I was spewing because one of the things I hate at collectors' fairs, and everybody, please don't do this if you're a seller. No prices on the table. Hate it. Are you trying to size me up as a mark? Sorry, I had McDonald's. It's really disagreeing with me. I don't like McDonald's. Wife wanted it. I didn't want it. Gross. There goes that sponsorship. Happy Meal toys, though. They're rad. Especially the Muppet Babies and Changeables. Iconic. Anyway, no price on the table. So I'm looking at this. And am I crazy in thinking? I thought they're going to take one look at me and they're going to like tell me like it's $100, maybe even 120. We're talking a Transformers watch in the packet, and we're talking Australian dollars. Maybe you're going, oh, Fresh, you're crazy. There's no way it was going to be that much. I don't know. Anyway, allow me to introduce Ollie. There is Davey with his arm around him, just for context. So Ollie comes up to me and we were talking, and I said, I saw this Transformers watch and no price on it. And Ollie goes, I'll get you the price for it. I do it for Dad all the time. And I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, let me go ask. Kid's got balls still. I love Ollie. Like he's a trip. And Ollie goes up there and he comes back and he goes, there was no Transformers watch. And I'm like, no, Ollie, like it's not Transformers. It's a watch that transforms into a robot. And he goes, gotcha. So Ollie and Davey disappear. And they return, and Ollie's got a big grin on his face, and he's holding this watch that you see here. So obviously Ollie's gotten it for me. And Ollie goes to tell me the following story, which if you listen to Geek Dudes, you've already heard, but please indulge the refreshing thoughts, viewers. Ollie goes to the table and says, oh, I picture he's got hat in hand, excuse me, sir. Little cherub Ollie there. How much for this Transformers watch, sir? And the guys looked at Ollie, this cute kid, and gone, it's $20. And Ollie's gone, gee whiz. I don't know, but I doubt Ollie said gee whiz, but I like telling a story like this. Ollie goes, gee whiz. Now, this part is factual. I've only got $5 pocket money to spend. True. Ollie says this. And the guy goes, you know what? For you, I'll do it for $5, mate. Now, here comes the kicker, which actually made Davey, damaged of all people, embarrassed. And Davey doesn't get embarrassed early. Ollie then produces a $10 note to pay for it. After just saying he only had $5 pocket money to spend at the fair, Ollie, that little cheeky kid, gave over a $10 note, and the dude had to give him the watch and $5 change. Zero shame. Ollie is a hero in my book. There goes my hero. So anyway, Davey comes up and Davey is saying, like, I died of embarrassment. He could have asked me for a $5 note. I would have given him one. So Ollie had no shame. So I gave Ollie then $15. I gave him a finder's fee for the watch. So $10 extra pocket money on Ollie. And I got this really cool Transformers watch. That wouldn't happen in Melbourne. The collectors scene in Melbourne, they're savages. They wouldn't help a kid out and negotiate with them, or very few would. Phil, Out of Time Toys and Collectibles, he's awesome. Look, he won't necessarily do you a deal because of his profit margin and everything, but Glenn Puck was over there of Ultimate Figure Protection. He's an amazing guy. Always happy to see him. But a lot of the salespeople at the fairs in Melbourne, there's just my wife said it, there's a cynicism, a bit of nastiness, definitely competitiveness, not the companionship, the mateship that the Adelaide toy scene seems to have. And that's not and I haven't really felt welcomed into the Melbourne toy community, if there even is a centered toy community. I know obviously everybody knows Lobo's Collectibles, and Dennis seems like a nice guy. But I always describe it when he comes into a toy fair, it's like Galactus. He comes in and he's the destroyer of worlds, and every dealer sees him and they want to do deals with him, and he's going to get the best stuff. And you're sort of beaten out of the gate. Where, look, part of the thing of being a dealer at a toy fair is you get in early and you get to make your own deals and everything. And sometimes the good stuff's gone, but at the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair, there's still plenty of stuff left over. I saw good stuff getting packed up for the next fair. There was a Rick Hunter I regret not getting. But yeah, there is some really cool stuff there. I'd like give you an example, like stuff you don't see every day. I thought this was awesome. How cool is this Ronald McDonald phone? Now, I think it was more used to draw attention to the stall as opposed to being on sale, but I had to take a photo of it and show everybody. Like McDonald's land stuff is so cool. And I'm sort of happy McDonald's is sort of bringing these characters back because they're such a good time. And I think we all have fond memories of Happy Meals. Like I've seen Dinosaur Dracula on socials has been posting a bit. I love the UFO containers for Happy Meals, the steamboats and stuff. Like it was so much fun as a kid to get a Happy Meal, and it still is for kids. I say they truly are a Happy Meal because every time I've got them for my kids, they're happy. Like my daughter is about to turn 18, and she would love it if I bought her home a cheeseburger Happy Meal. But yeah, I thought that was just rad seeing that. And they've got cool things like comic books. They've got the South Australian Ghostbusters. I'll show you the shirt in a minute, but there was a working containment unit. I love the containment unit. One of my favorite things of lore in Ghostbusters is the containment unit. I love it in the Christmas episode where Egon has to go into the containment unit to get the ghost of Christmas out of there because I accidentally bust them. I've got an animation cell of that I need to frame. Like that I it was so cool to see. We've got, a big Lego section. But anyway, the South Australian Ghostbusters had this cool T-shirt. If you know Adelaide in the Rundle Mall, they've got these two silver balls. So they've done the Adelaide silver balls. Yes, Slimer's licking balls. But like in an ice cream cone, it says South Australia. I don't know. Not exactly official, but I thought this shirt was really cool. And that's what I mean about the fair. You're finding like some wild stuff there. And I'm just jealous. Like the boys catch up every 2 weeks. And I look, with all due respect to Mitch and Jonesy, when we catch up to do Geek Dudes. And hey, it's the podcast. But there's a lot of them that are there that, it's just this extended community of people that at the end of everything, they all go out for dinner and they all catch up. And it was just such a good vibe of everybody thanking each other for the help that they did. What did you get? Everybody going, oh man, that's wicked. None of this nastiness amongst each other. It's I don't know. I've done an episode on Toy Friends before, and it involved those guys. And I guess maybe I'd take it for granted if I was over there, but I love the toy community that they have. I really think it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's a bit of a bummer that that Melbourne doesn't have that. Like I have friends that collect toys. Like when Melbourne Toy Fair happens, it's a great time to catch up where Dirty Uncle Mitch, the great Julian James of the Shine Worldwide, who does our intro music. You should check out the Shine Worldwide, where all good rock songs are found on Spotify and YouTube Music and Apple Music. Anyway, my good friend Boost and Mikey J, who I work with at Renegades of Wrestling, we catch up. We'll go check out the fair, and then we'll cross over to Giorgio's and have something to eat afterwards. And it is a similar experience, but they seem to just do it more frequently. Like they used to have a group called Beers and Toys, I think. And they've still got a Facebook group chat where they all chat. I'm dying to get invited into that. I think it's a South Australian only thing. But it's just cool. And like I was getting given gifts from people that had never met me before, but they've heard me on Toy Power, or they've seen Refreshing Thoughts. And like Nick Greenslade and Malcolm, just gifting me stuff. And it was so nice and welcoming. Like I don't think like Out of Time Toys and Collectibles have probably either gifted me something or done me a really good deal, but nobody's been looking to, and I'm not saying it's about what are you given or what that, but I'm just saying the way they look after each other And I think it's why I found such a sort of kindred spirit a little bit in Horde World. In not that we're constantly giving each other stuff, but he just seems like a really cool dude who's a toy collector, you know? Like, we don't really know anything about each other, but we've got this mutual love of dollies. You know, we take the piss out of ourselves. And then with the collecting, we don't take it all too seriously. And you know, and that's what I think is rad about him. You know, if I saw Horde World at a fair, you know, I'd love to catch up with him and have a laugh. And it's just maybe it's me, you know, through wrestling, I've been standoffish at times. And maybe there is that sort of kindred spirit in Melbourne, and it's just me that's missing out, but I don't think so. Like what I hear from other collectors, it's nah, we're not really mates. You know, we don't really do this, or somebody's always, you know, doing bullshit raffles or trying to make money, or there's always an angle on something. And it just made me just go, the Adelaide like toy scene really is special. You know, like these people are special. Um, you know, these people are special. And so many more. You know, StreamYard only lets me upload a certain amount of photos, and I'm not going to fumble around as I'm doing a live stream trying to upload more. The other really cool thing about Adelaide, pandas. Their zoo had pandas. Look at that cutie. I was so excited. Jessie reminded me. She goes, "Oh, what are we going to do? Let's go to the zoo." It's like, let's go see the pandas. And it was so cool to see pandas. I know this really isn't a panda cast, but how beautiful are pandas? And I've got a funny story. Native to Rottnest Island in Australia, what's known as the world's happiest animals, quokkas. See these little guys have got big smiles and stuff on their face. Google them. And anyway, we're walking around the zoo, and there's lots of meerkats. And Jessie's seeing all these meerkats. She goes, "Oh, look at them! I just love to pat them. Aren't they cute?" Stuff. And we see a family in front of a quokka, and I'm looking at a quokka, and the family are, you know, very close to the quokka. Possibly patted it. I don't know. But anyway, my love, she goes up to the quokka, and I see the hand go in to give it a pat. And the next thing I know, the quokka grabs onto her finger and doesn't just give it a nip, it clamps down on Jessie's finger. And like time stood still. And I'm looking and I'm going, "You've got to be shitting me. It's not letting go." And then I'm in a bit of a panic of like, am I about to punch this quokka to get it to let go? Like, this is an insane situation. And for some reason, Jessie was able to get her hand free. And like, she's bruising, like, thank goodness the skin didn't break. I'm Googling, do they have rabies? We don't have rabies in Australia, but you know, like, do you need a shot? Like, what's going on? She's too embarrassed to go to first aid because, you know, she doesn't want to admit that she patted an animal that she probably shouldn't pat. But I'm like, well, why are you letting them that accessible? Like, if we can reach in and pat them, they're probably too close. Um, I I claim the quokka heard her American accent and, you know, didn't like it. But yeah, my poor love, she got bitten by a quokka. A quokka, those happy little guys. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Look, I see a panda, I don't want to pat it. Like, I just assume it would maul me. But no, my love, she loves animals, and animals clearly don't love her. But speaking of gifts, while I was there, you will see my vanity shelf there. And you'll see a little Lego man, and see that eyebrow there? Trent from Lego Masters made me a Lego guy of myself. He also made one of Jessie. And it's like such a small gesture made us feel so welcome over there. Like, the fact that he put that thought in really meant a lot to both of us. And I thought it was a beautiful thing. And on Toy Power's recent anniversary episode, I forgot I had won this. But from the late great Darren Filsell's collection, it's a vintage Toon Turtle that's actually unpunched. Got a case from Glenn Puck from Ultimate Figure Protection, and I've already got a Tocker and Razor from Darren's collection on card in cases. And you're asking why they're in cases is because they're memories of just the most beautiful, gentle soul, like a man I wish I'd have met. Like we podcasted together. Um, Fact that still blows me away is on Darren's last ever appearance on Toy Power. I was also on that episode. Um, the way the Toy Power boys took care of Jeff and Mary, Darren's parents, it was a beautiful thing. And to have these items from Darren's collection means a lot to me personally. Like while I'm breathing, they will always be in my collection. I don't collect to sell. And you know, it Darren passed away too soon, but he was one of the first people listening to on Toy Power that I connected with, where it was like, I'd hang with the big guy if I was over there in Adelaide. He had just such a almost innocent passion for toys and such a great knowledge base. Like we lost a true toy historian in Australia when Darren passed away. So to have another piece of Darren's collection in mine really means a lot to me. But I guess you want to see what I got from the fair and my trip to Adelaide. Here's my haul. To have a look at it, the Diesel and Razor Ramon I actually found at Kmart in Horsham. What was I doing at Kmart in a country town in Horsham as I was driving to Adelaide? Well, we need to use the toilet, and I was like, "Oh, there's a Kmart here. I might poke my head in." And they've gotten Legends figures in at Kmart, and I got the Razor and Diesel. I didn't get the Shawn and Hunter, not for me. But yeah, Teddy Ruxpin. I grabbed from Lenny, Davey Damaged Daughter at Radical Rewind. Still haven't tested to see if Teddy Ruxpin works or not. My guess is he probably doesn't, but I don't care. Still cool to have a representation of the two elves, my two elves. The little elf in the Hawaiian shirt and the sunglasses. Interesting enough, speaking of stalls that didn't price things, no price on that elf. And I love the fact that the little Gordon Shumway was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and had his sunnies. And I said, how much? And the guy goes, $15. And I go, cool. I just gave him the money. And he goes, oh, damn it. And as in he should have charged more. And that really annoyed me. I wouldn't buy anything else from his stand again because it's like, what am I, a mark? Price your stuff. Put it on there. And if I go, is there any better you can do? And you want to do better, you can. Or if not, go, no, that's my price. I'm holding firm and I'll respect that and move on. Like just not pricing your stuff and sizing people up really bugs me. I got a Governor Jesse Ventura doll in his Predator gear. You'll see the ridiculous Cobra vehicle there. I've got a couple of books that was gifted to me by Trent, the Elf books that were gifted to me. I had the Aussie Ostrich joke book gifted to me by Brett Owen. The Optimus Prime there gifted to me. There's a Nemesis Prime blockies gifted to me. Like these are gifts from people just being nice. While I was out with Sean and Jussie, I got the Christmas droid, which I love. I love that set. I love Christmas. You're about to hear a lot about Christmas on Refreshing Thoughts. Got the Skeletor and Mumra because I couldn't believe it was on the shelves at Toy World, and then it was on special, $15 cheaper on Zuckerberg's website this week. But at least I didn't have to buy it from a billionaire because I'm sure the owners of Toy World don't have any money. You'll see a Batman Returns mask. Oh, no, Batman and Robin mask there from the Clooney movie. I don't know. It just reminded me of a show bag. I kind of liked it. It's only a few dollars. The A-Team Doona. Now, you may ask, why did you get yourself an A-Team Doona? I got it from Osti, another great guy there at the fair. I had that Doona set as a child. I also had an Elf Doona set as a kid. And when I was, I think I was 18, I had a falling out with my father, and I lived in my car for about 6 months. And I didn't really think about the fact that I still used the same bedding from my childhood. Well, teenage boys don't think about this stuff. And Look, my mum had long passed, and dad and I, it was like two cavemen living together. So I still used my A team and Elf Duna. So the police, if they saw you sleeping in your car at night, they'd sort of knock on your window and go, "What are you doing?" What I learned was, here's a tip if you ever finding yourself sleeping in your car, and I hope you don't, is if the police do knock on your window, just go, "Sorry guys, I had a fight with the missus and I'm just sleeping here tonight." And they'll usually leave you alone. I did learn to say that. But I remember feeling embarrassed with a female police officer when she sort of judged me, I think, for having an A team and Elf Duna and I'm sleeping in my car. And I will say it's probably one of the low points in my life. Unfortunately, not one of the lowest, but definitely a low point. So seeing Osty with that, I've now got the Elf Duna and the A Team Duna, and damn it, I've come a long way from those days. So that was really cool. You'll see a giant Michelangelo back there. And one of Toy Power, Frank, one of the hosts, he wasn't feeling great. He wasn't at the fair long. And Jesse and I had a bit of a break. She didn't want to be at the fair all day. So we went and grabbed some lunch. And I put Marketplace on local and I was just seeing what the Adelaide scene was putting up there. And I saw a giant movie and a giant movie Leonardo and a giant movie Michelangelo. Now, Leonardo is Frank's favorite Ninja Turtle. So I messaged Davey Damaged asking, does Frank have this Leonardo? And Davey wasn't getting back to me. He did eventually get back to me, but I already decided I don't care. I'm just going to get it for him. And if he doesn't need it, he doesn't need it. I'll keep it, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do with two Ninja Turtles out of the four. And it turns out Frank didn't have it. So I felt like Santa Claus. Jesse and I, we had nothing to do that night. We drove out to Frank's place and I was able to give him the giant Leonardo. Now, I didn't give him the giant Michelangelo because it sort of felt like it made sense to give him a version of his favorite turtle rather than give him half of the Ninja Turtles. Does that make sense? I don't know if Frank's spewing, going, "Oh, I wouldn't have minded the Michelangelo and I'll try and get the other two." If he wants to do that, he can. I'll give him the Michelangelo. The only reason I ended up with the Mikey was I went to get the Leo for him. But yeah, I don't know. Did I do the right thing? Should have I just given him both? I just thought it would mean more to give him his guy. I hope I did the right thing. Anyway, yeah, so that's why Mikey's ended up back here. And that way I've only got one weird turtle from the movies there. Look, Raph is my favorite, but who doesn't love Michelangelo? He's a party dude. So yeah, and Frank had gifted me very kindly a Jetfire, a G1 Jetfire, because I was saying how I'd like one. Now it's bare bones and it's loosey goosey, but I don't care. It means a lot to me because it came from Frank. And I'm going to be very careful here. I'm going to do the thing that I always say I shouldn't. Let me bring it back to me, and I'm going to show you something. So just so you can see, Jetfire is up there in my collection. Now, Mitch said he looks sad because his little ears were down, but I can't get them to stand up. Now, if anybody, shouldn't have done that. Oh, there we go. I think I've got it back. If anybody has the extra bits for Jetfire, please let me know. I'd love to complete him just as a tribute to the thank you from Frank. Not thank you, like the gift from Frank. The gesture meant a lot to me. But yeah, I got some really cool stuff from the fair. Some cases from Glenn. From Ultimate Figure Protection. Sounds like I'm shilling for him. Trust me, I paid for the cases and won a couple. And you'll see the Happy Meal Ghostbusters stuff there. That was a gift from Davey Damaged. Incredibly thoughtful, and apparently they're meant to go on your bike. Now, I've just put them in my collection, but yeah, Ghostbusters on vinyl was only $15. Like, what a bargain! In Melbourne, it would have had $1,000 on it. That's probably an exaggeration, but I'm a bit sore on the Melbourne collecting scene. It just, I don't know. Maybe Adelaide seems more special because it's a long way away and it's work to get there. But I don't think that's it. I just think the Adelaide toy scene is special. And I hope it remains special because it's a beautiful thing. It's a welcoming thing. And as collectors, that's what makes it fun is community, talking to your friends about it. That's what takes us back to our childhood. And as I always say, I'm trying to impress 10-year-old me, and still never quite getting there. And yeah, though it was such a good time. If you can get across there and you're from Melbourne, please don't ruin it. Go there, enjoy it, but don't go to pat it like a quokka. Um, like just have fun there, treat everybody nice, don't try and rip everybody off, don't bring your "Hey, I'm walking here" attitude from Melbourne to the Adelaide toy scene because it's a beautiful thing, but it really is cool, and the people are great. Like, I met so many cool guys, new people, like, that we've added each other on social media and stuff, and it's like through just messages and stuff, I'd like to get to know them more, so when we have a beer next time, we'll have even more to talk about. Now I did have something happen that happens to most toy collectors. I came back from a fair where I got a lot of stuff, and more stuff came in. And you will see there, I got the chase version of the diesel, which I thought was really cool. Gamer versus Juggernaut. Um, that is so impressive that I think you have to get it. If you have a remote liking of the X-Men and Juggernaut, I think you need to own this toy. It is extraordinary. And I got the big rubber guys Ric Flair. Now, I got it particularly because it comes with the big gold belt, which I think is really cool. And I got it from JJ Figures because the major, uh, what Collect Major is their website. They've bumped up their international shipping dramatically to the point it's almost impossible to buy toys through them. So it was actually cheaper because of the postage to buy it from a third party website. But wouldn't you know it, you see issues. I go to put the belt on Flair and it broke where the strap threads through immediately and it sucked. Now, I know if I bought it directly from Major and I contacted Kanik, they would have looked after me. But like, what am I going to contact a third party toy place and what they're going to say, ship it back or something, or or too bad? I just glued it and repaired it, but it did suck, and it's made me slightly hesitant a little bit on the big rubber guys because I've seen a few people bitch about QC issues, but they're pumping out so much cool stuff. I've got their Sting on pre-order. So yeah, I don't know. That did bum me out a little bit. But as I wrap it up, let me remove that from the stage. I've got to show you this guy in person. He is currently on my desk. Look, I've got a big fat head. Look at the size of Jugs. Look at him. Look at him. He is a big, beautiful boy. Now, he is currently occupying the space where Mecha Godzilla was. Don't worry, Mecha's moved to the other side of this now very stupidly cramped desk. I've got no room to type. I've got no room to do anything. But I love him. I don't know where I could put him. Like, I'm glad I didn't get the Mondo now because this is fulfilling my Juggernaut desires. It's a bit like the McFarlane Batmobile made me go, I don't need the Hot Toys. I don't need the Mondo because this big boy is doing the job. I'm going to get that giant Apocalypse. Did you see what Hasbro showed? I hope there's a way to get it in Australia because it's going to be made to order. And, the great Colin Betts would get it for me from Hasbro Pulse, but shipping and everything, it's just brutal. Like, I just hope this stuff's available in Australia. Maybe I'll reach out to Hasbro and see if they get back to me. I've reached out to a few toy companies just asking questions. I've received 0 replies. I have no clout, it would appear. I guess I'm not a Lego master like Hollywood. But anyway, thank you for watching or listening to Refreshing Thoughts. If you did listen, quickly jump on YouTube, give me a subscribe, like. If you did watch, comment on the video. I'd love to interact with you. I appreciate each and every one of you that have given my show a chance. I hope it's entertaining you. I hope it's good fun when I do put out the episodes. I appreciate you very much. And until we speak next time, hooroo.